Hey guys, it's John with Walkthrough Code. So today we're going to talk about something called knex-populate. This was a tool that I built this past weekend, and honestly, it's the premise of it is that I used a lot of MongoDB before I used Postgres, and Knex is what I use almost exclusively for querying Postgres databases in Node. So I found that one of the things that I loved about Mongo that I didn't love so much about Postgres and MySQL and stuff is that yes, I understand that the premise of that type of thing is to use joins, right? Because if you have a foreign key, it'll tie to another table, and you just have to join it to bring the information from the other table. Yes, I get that. Um, in Mongo, just in my opinion, it was a lot easier to do output JSON with the key the IDs that were populated without having to go through a whole join statement and stuff like that, which inadvertently is kind of how this happens, but that's that's you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I just wanted to make it a lot easier. It actually turned into something a little bit more than I had intended. It was originally just supposed to be for populated, but then it started to drive me crazy that I couldn't use it with Knex. So then I ended up building some sort of querying set of tools, and you'll kind of also see what I mean for that. So at any rate, something that you'll need to follow, or the things that you'll need to follow along with this video. You'll need Node.js and npm to get Node installed. Go to nodejs.org and download the LTS version. You'll need Postgres. I mean, you can also use another relational database if you want to. Have at it. Um, Things that would be nice to have without having to spend the extra time to build it while we're going along in the videos. An existing database. I have one that has foreign keys that I can just easily use. And preferably with tables with foreign keys. Optional but handy is a database viewing tool. I happen to use Postico, but there's a number of good ones. And access to the terminal command line and a text editor of your choice. Alright guys, so let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to create a server. And I'm going to use this other tool that I actually wrote, coincidentally enough, called dbconfig. You can install it by going sudo npm install-g dbconfig, which I still need to make a video on that. I'm going to get around to that. And then that'll go ahead and install and or update if you haven't done it. It gives you this nice little how do I use this type of thing, which makes life a little bit easier. But let's go ahead and generate something for us. So we're going to say dbconfig knex scaffold and then --db name, so we can tell it what db name we want. This particular one is called seminar. We can create the directory name by saying create dir equals, and then we'll say I don't know, knex-populate thing. And then the last thing that we want to do is we want to separate the routes. We can have it build, if we don't put --routes, it'll put all of the routes in the server.js, which is great for super simple demos, but I still want to demonstrate how this works. So we are, you know what, it's router. Router? We'll find out. Cool. So yeah, so then it generates all of this, all these files and directories and things like that. But we still need to cd into it, and we also need to run npm install. So we'll do that, and then that shouldn't take too long. Yeah. So I'm gonna let that install. And then, okay, great. So that's done installing. So now I'm going to open this up in Atom. And then we'll start messing around. Okay. So we have a server.js file. This just has a bunch of stuff in it. We have a logger, we have cores, a body parser, pretty much everything that you need. I built in just in a simple index view. We can test that by going to actually just by running nodemon, and then if we bring up our localhost 8000, because it tells us that it tells us that's where it's being served. If we go over there, it says Express is working. Awesome. Okay, so if we look at the routes, we see that we have these index routes here. This just is, we have a router.get, res.render. We're going to get rid of that. Actually, we're going to keep that, but then we'll just create, while I'm thinking about it, let's create a new route. We'll say router.get /test thing. And then we'll take out this res.render in a minute here. Actually, the other thing that I forgot to do is we need to npm install -- save knex-populate. Okay, so that's not going to take long at all to install. And then we're going to boot back up our nodemon. Okay. Again, I'm gonna assume that you have Postgres on your computer already. I'm gonna go to Postigo just to show you guys the database that I'm calling, just so you're not like, what just happened. So I have this thing called seminar. It has 3 tables. It has cities, which just the name of the city and the ID. I have professors, which has professor, and I'm assuming where they're from, or I don't know. You can make any assumption you want. And then I have a table of seminars with a professor ID that's, I'm assuming, either going to and or teaching that seminar. So we have enough information to kind of start messing around. So so all we have to do now is, let's just not do this right now. Let's do, we could do let. I don't know. I just haven't updated these yet. We could use const. Who cares? Or not. Wait. Yeah. Okay. Knex _populate, because dash would think it's a minus and nobody likes that. Require knex populate. And we'll save this, and now it's not broken again, which is great. So we are going to go in here, and so the first thing that we do, so let's look at the documentation just so you can follow along. So here we see without populate, it would kind of look a little bit like this, right? We would call for it, it would give us our post, and then we could call for comments, and it would render like this. However, with populate, this, instead of having, taking the post ID and just, putting the actual post ID, the comment, we can basically, okay, rewinding. We can associate the comments with the post ID related to this and output it onto the actual JSON, or add the actual, outputted stuff. So we need to install knex, which is already in dbconfig, knex-populate, which we just did. The PG for Postgres, that was installed with dbconfig. So here's how we kind of use it. So let's just copy paste that. Basically, we have our instance of knex. So the reason why I did that was because I've seen different people put their knex instances in different places. So rather than being overly opinionated, I just said, fine, you put it anywhere you want, but I just need an instance of the knex here. Then we have our main table. In this case, the post would be the main table. Then .find, and we'll just kind of go through it. So our knex instance, so we have our knex instance here, so we are going to put knex. Then our main table. So let's do this. let's use our seminars table and then just populate this professor for who's professor for each. So our main table is going to be seminars. Seminars. Okay. Then dot find object with query params, if any. So let's just output all of them. You can do it two ways. You can either put in empty. This is the way that Waterline from Sales.js does it, and Mongo does it. But I made it so where you don't need to do that if you don't want to. This just seems a little cleaner to me. We're not filtering for anything specific. We just want to output it all. So the reference table that we're going to talk about is the professors. Then our foreign key is going to be our professor ID. So we're going to say professor ID. And then we can put an alias if we want to. Obviously, we're looking in the professor's table, and we're only going to get one professor back for each, so we can change this to professor. The alias is not required. However, if you don't use it, it will default to the table name. And then after that, we have to run an execute statement. The execute is just to kind of put everything together and query what needs to be queried. And then so what it returns after, once you resolve the promise using the .then, that's when you have access to this. So let's use, I'll just use the browser. So then here we're in index routes, which is bound to the base. So let's go ahead and go to /test thing and see what happens. So if we go to /test thing, it gives us, oh look, awesome. So it gives us everything that we asked for in the professor ID and that particular professor. And so, yeah, I mean, here, apparently that professor ID didn't work. Is that what happened? Do we not have a professor with an ID? We do not have a professor with an ID of 9. That is why that didn't work. That was a database issue. That is not a tool issue. Okay. So, I mean, that's really the gist of it. I mean, you don't actually have to populate anything. It'll actually work like this. If you just want to go get information, it just, that populate gives you the ability to do that. But this will query it just the same anyway. So, I mean, that's really it. We'll probably maybe I'll make a video about building a small project using this, but I mean, this is kind of the gist of it. If you have any questions, totally post in the comments below. If you find any issues with it, put it in the repo that I'm going to put the link for in the description. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support and your nice comments and comments in general, because I want to make this channel better. So thanks again so much, and please like and subscribe, and yeah, have a great day.